Feature and a Short.
Welcome to Feature and a Short, where filmmakers present, watch, and discuss films. I'm Justin Joseph Hall, owner of Whirlwind Films. Let's get started. So tonight we had a friend of mine who I've been trying to get on the show for over a year. His name is Jay Giampietro, and he's a very prolific filmmaker. He makes about one short film a year, if not two. He creates not only narratives, but documentaries, and most of his films follow unusual New York male characters, often searching for love.
I love awkward men.
Jay's film was called The Thing That Kills Me the Most, a short experimental film.
Footage I shot in the year 2001 on mini DV, and I used to hang around with movie-obsessed men that are 20 years older than me. And they would fight all the time, and I would make recordings of them arguing and talking bad about each other behind each other's backs. And so I had this one recording of this guy. For half an hour, he eviscerated this other guy for being a slob, and I would always mess around with it. He had one time been like, well, if you're going to make a movie, I'm going to make a movie too. And he brought a Super 8 camera to an Oscar night party, and he didn't put any film in it because he's frugal. And every time, this camera that he had, every time he would press the shutter, it had a light attached to it, so it would just blast me with light. And he ruined everything I was trying to shoot that night. So it took like 15 or 16 years, and I was like, oh, that actually is probably pretty funny. And then I was able to play it, and then, so that's what this is.
All right, cool.
The thing that kills me the most.
Afterward, we had a short discussion.
So this was filmed a lot, like way before that.
Yeah, all those kids are grown-ups now. They came to the premiere at the New York Film Festival, and they all liked it. Although Jack, he fled. He was like chased out of this area of New Jersey because people would be so aggressive towards him. And I don't know where he is now. He's in Florida. I don't even know if he's still alive.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he may be still alive. I guarantee you, I would say
Probably.
he probably is alive, and he probably has a MAGA hat, and he's probably telling people like,
Gotcha.
Hillary Clinton with their emails, because that's the way he was.
Yeah.
Was he the ranter or the one being ranted about?
The ranter is not seen in the movie, but he came to the premiere too. He thought it was funny. He says fuck 51 times in 5 minutes in this, but in the main conversation he said it a lot more, so there could have been a lot more.
This one's like way more.
This is the most
experimental.
abstract thing I've ever
Yeah.
done.
And did you say you did the music too or not?
No, it's my friend did the music, but it was actually a piece of music I had of his from a commercial job that I just like slowed down and chopped up. And I was trying to mix like My Bloody Valentine and the Jerky Boys, kind of, if you know what the Jerky Boys are. Does anyone know what the Jerky Boys are? Do you guys all know? So this was like one of the first viral kind of things, where basically these guys would make these prank phone calls, and they would make
It was all real.
and it was real, and then it got kind of more popular to the point where they had an actual CD come out on like
They
a
got kind of
record label.
homogenized after.
And they actually got a movie too, but so they just have these funny prank calls.
What was it like with getting those people comfortable with you filming them? Because I imagine that'd feel weird.
So the first year I went to the Oscar party, I thought they were really funny and wild. So then I went the second year when American Beauty was nominated, and I filmed it because, Sam is such a lively character. And then I made a documentary out of the year of American Beauty. So then I was like, I just want to do this every year. I went, hey, I'm going to come over on Tuesday night for pasta night. I'm going to bring the camera, and I'll film you like doing your thing, and I'll film you talking about the movies. So I show up and he doesn't have a shirt on. So I'm like, okay.
So this wasn't something that you agreed.
No, but then I'm like, okay, I figure most people will be like, oh, hang on, let me go put a shirt on. He just didn't put a shirt on for 2 hours while I was filming.
To another thing Jay's sort of semi-famous for on the internet is he takes
Street photography.
street photography of odd people in New York.
The picture I think that describes my, I have a picture of a guy, he had like a tracheotomy,
Mm-hmm.
and he was smoking, and he was wearing a shirt that said, have a nice day, and he was holding a cigarette, and the smoke was coming out of the tracheotomy. And his shirt had like a
That's
picture of like a
perfect.
cartoon character smiling and said, have a nice day. That's like the,
Yeah, you can't.
the humanity, because I
It's
mean,
like the peak.
yeah, like the humanity of like, oh, okay.
You don't do it as much though anymore, do you?
No, I just got off of doing it for a while. I took all
Yeah.
I deleted my Instagram. I took
Oh,
all
you
the-
did. That's
I might use it for experimental, like more work. Instagram got so gross and stupid, and you know what I mean. What it really was when I started doing it, like with stuff that I like to do, it was kind of trying to be like straightforwardly capturing like these complex moments or whatever, or complex situations. and then it just totally went one way or the other. Where everyone's like, either you're laughing or you're like offended or something, and then that felt like it didn't fit in. And then also the algorithm, you know what I mean? It's so stupid.
Yeah.
And afterwards, Jay introduced the feature Private Practices, the story of a sex surrogate. This is a documentary from 1985 about a sex surrogate and two of her clients. And with this film, we served ice cream and tea. Very sexy.
So Kirby Dick, who directed this movie, is a successful, fairly well-known documentarian, and this movie is awkward men in all their naked glory, no pun, literally.
Literally naked,
Naked,
good to
kind
know.
of. And, but the other thing, every time I watch it, I guess the reason why I thought it might complement the movie that I showed, it has like that video aesthetic of the 80s, and it just has that look with the saturation and the sound.
After watching the film, discussion flowed pretty rapidly. There were a lot of physical reactions and vocal reactions during the film, as there's a lot of nudity and unusual sexual teaching that isn't seen very often. So the discussion was lively.
Kind of hearing this like really frank, clinical approach to intimacy and
I thought it was
anxiety.
really interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because you probably have met people with that level of anxiety at some point in your life, but you've never been exposed to like actually exploring all of it.
Yeah.
Like you can see when you meet people that have these issues, you can sense it, but you're not gonna go any deeper than that.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I haven't. That like to see how terrified that guy was of taking any initiative was painful.
I don't think they would call them a sex surrogate now either. It must be like intimacy
I know, that was
counselor or something.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
again,
yeah.
it's like these things you remember when people would talk about, and then like now that would be like, no, you don't call it that.
Yeah,
like that's like
yeah.
inappropriate to say that. You want to say like intimacy therapy or something like that or whatever. Somebody asked me when we were talking about it at Alamo, like, why would anyone agree to be filmed? I'm like, I think at some point they say it's because it was cheaper.
That explains so much. I was wondering, like, for someone that is so nervous about intimacy, how can you be okay having all of this? But when the saving is on the line.
Did you see Tupac?
I mean, I always like, I never liked the 40-Year-Old Virgin movie either, because I always felt like I knew guys that were like that, and the way he played it as like just like a straight up comedy. It's funny, but there's something, the pathos isn't there in that movie, which always bugged me a lot, because like I said, I know guys that are kind of like that guy, and there's a lot of like vulnerability and pathos in his sort of like.
You would think it's more common for men to go see women, but you wonder about the opposite side. And
It was a great movie about that.
really?
Well, it's a little different, but it's a movie about, it's called The Great Happiness Space, and it's a movie about Japanese host bars, and about these women who go and spend all of their money on these guys who look like these really glammed up K-pop kind of like idols and stuff like that. Yeah. Basically having fake boyfriends of these like really like well-groomed, like kind of like guys that wear like eyeliner, have their hair done and stuff like that. And then it has a very strange twist. I just always remember feeling like the tone is really specific because it's like really clinical, and you know the way it looks and the way it's like a timepiece. But then watching it this time, I was like, oh, it's still like, you know, whatever, 40 years later, like people still don't.
What year was that?
83 or so.
I think it was
So it's like people still feel like they don't know how to have these kind of conversations. So it's like kind of strange to see something so dated. But then like, so I was born in 75. So I think when I watch a movie like this, like I remember when the world looked like this or whatever too. And then like the video quality of it.
It's like a
I remember when
state
restaurants looked that
place or
way.
whatever,
Yeah,
yeah.
like Round Round or Bennigan's or all those places. And then
Strange nostalgic feel you get from it, right?
Yeah.
And I would say if people want to see your films, I mean,
Yeah, Magic Square Films, they're all on there. Is that what it's called?
Well, that's just about all for the show. There's something in the forecast to look forward to. Two small things. Daria Huxley, our photographer, went to Cuba, and we'll have some photos from that soon. Check out her social media or ours. And we have started production on the short film Paper Geese. which is by Elizabeth Chatelain, and that's being shot out in the Midwest. If you want to check out something from those filmmakers, go back to episode 1 on our podcast. Elizabeth Chatelain is the first guest we ever had. So also follow us on social media at Four Wind Films. That's at FOURWINDFILMS. Enjoy, and we'll see you next time. Peace.